Welcome to the studio, Elan. How are you?
Appreciate that. I'm good. How you doing, James?
I'm great. We're doing some great work here today with Aphex. We're talking about the channel strip.
Yeah, pretty sweet piece.
What are you thinking of it?
It's necessary, you know what I mean? With all the actually mainstream productions coming out of, home project studios as well as just private, smaller studios, it's the enabler.
I mean, you work in a lot of big studios. Can you see the value for using the channel in some of those big studio productions you do?
Definitely. Whether like it's on the fly, just because I know the piece of gear, it's very easy to use. It's easy to know, and if you want a sound, it's easy to dial it in and get it.
There's a lot of familiar tools that you would use anyway, right?
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, on vocals, guitar, sounds great. Bass. There's a million applications.
I've had a few people come through my own little studio and plug into it and remark about how good my microphone sounded.
Right.
When it was the same old 414 that that I've been using for 20 years with these people.
Yeah. Well,
what do you think of that? Do you think, to a degree, I guess the channel kind of does a nice job with some of those old mics that you have?
Yeah, definitely. I've definitely used my fair share of mics that are pretty poor, and with a good preamp, you can really make something sound good. That channel has an incredible preamp, though. I mean, just the fact they put a tube in it's pretty sweet.
So you and I have worked on a few projects. What have we done together?
Yeah, what have we done together? Bobby Brown's new album.
We worked on Bobby Brown's new album. Do we have a title for that one yet?
The Masterpiece.
We've done The Masterpiece together.
Right, not to set this standards high or anything, but The Masterpiece.
Oh, we're not calling it that.
That's Bobby's.
That's the name of the album, right?
Sure.
What else? We did a little bit of work for DMC, right?
Yeah, DMC and
He's got something coming up maybe in a little while?
Yeah, DMC is dropping a new album, and that's exciting. We haven't had anything from anybody from Run DMC in years, so that was fun to work on, and it's always fun to work with.
When we were doing that DMC, do you remember we were trying to get some guitars on there, and we were having trouble with the sound? And what did I have in my bag?
Little Aphex trick, right? Oh, there you go.
A little trick or tomfoolery. I had one of these and the new Aphex Exciter pedal, which I'm going to be talking about in my own video in a little while. Today, though, I should say we've been doing a video about the channel with Elan, and he's got a wonderful tutorial to show you how to use it. So if this was television, I'd say let's go to it.
Right.
Maybe we won't. I don't know. So you want to tell us a little bit about your background, some of the acts you've worked with?
Yeah, sure. Basically got into music as early as I could. My dad's a pretty accomplished musician, so I just kind of grew up, listening to music and knowing what was good and what needed help. And took that knowledge on the road to learn more. Became an intern and got picked up from there. But I guess some of the acts that I've worked with, we got George Clinton, Brandy, Bobby Brown, DMC, Tony Braxton, Slash, Snake Pit. I've done some Slayer stuff.
Slayer, my friends, I know them.
Yeah. So, try to keep it diverse.
Yeah.
As possible.
That's what's cool.
And then we've worked on at least a number of genres together.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Not just hip-hop.
I love working with this guy because his range, as far as what he can hear and what he can add to music, is just right across the board. I mean, I'm almost getting to depend on you now.
I appreciate that.
So anyway,
so we were actually, I think it was the first time we really worked together. We were working on, I believe it was Bobby Brown's album, and he brought me some tracks basically that he had, and he played them for me in headphones, and it was the most incredible soundscapes ever, and then he tells me it was just on the bass. I've heard what you can get out of those Aphex pedals, and it just blows me away.
Yeah, well, I started incorporating those pedals, the compressor and the exciter pedals, the last generation of them, before the David Weiner company took over.
Sure.
They had an orange pedal, which was called the Punch Factory. It's still called the Punch Factory now, and a blue exciter, which was just limited to the bass. And I've always used that on my pedal board, and that's how I get a lot of those sounds that you're talking about. Because I'll usually run all of my pedals, an octave divider, choruses, distortion, wah-wah. I'll put them in between the two pedals. I use a compressor to start up just to even out what those pedals will do, and then I'll use the exciter on the back end to accentuate some of the higher and lower frequencies.
Do you ever go out without it?
Very, very rarely. When I do, it's kind of like I'm naked.
Right.
You know, as a matter of fact, I got it down to a point where I could actually just bring the two pedals and my own distortion pedal that I like having, and I can kind of dial up any amp to feel the way I want it to feel. You know, to kind of push the kind of air I like to hear.
Right. And what about like when you're in front of thousands and thousands of people? You know what I mean? It's you know, going through those huge PA systems and stadiums and all that stuff. Does it, you know, do you still know and find it easy to find your sounds in there and dial it in? Yeah, because my sound is always, it's basically what comes out of my own speakers. Right. So as long as I get it there, I've used electro voice microphones for years. I can get a very predictable sound to the front house through those microphones using my equipment, using my amplifiers, and using the Aphex pedals, as I mentioned before, in congruence with my whole floorboard setup. Yeah. So how are you using the channel in your studio? I'm actually applying it for a lot of vocals. I run some of my bass tracks through it, and when I do that, I'll actually, because I like to hit the compression pretty hard, and the channel will do that. But another thing that it'll do, which is really cool, is you've got the insert on the back. Yeah. So I'll actually run into a secondary compressor. Sometimes the Aphex compressor, sometimes a big tube compressor if I want that kind of a spread. Right. You know, and I find that really useful, you know, for really focusing and widening the sound. And I got to tell you, the parametric, because I love the mids, you know, on the bass for articulation. Definitely. And even if you just put an indication or a little tip something on there, the EQ there is perfect for what I need it for, you know, for the bass guitar. Now, taking it from there, vocal mics, I wouldn't put vocals through anything else. I mean, since I've been using it, because it's just so easy. I mean, you get what you put into it, and it smooths out, and you've already got the exciter in there, so you can get that nice little kind of crispy sibilance without pushing it too far. And I know you're a fan of the de-esser, right? Yeah, the de-esser is crazy. That, you know, it's controlled by two controls basically, and you know, it does what a, you know, super expensive large Orban sibilance controller would do, or anything else we'd use in the studio.
Yeah, it's really effective.
That and the gate too, actually. The gate is super intuitive for not having a lot of controls. You know, a lot of people don't like to go in the studio and dial in, you know, digital, you know, find, you know, all this stuff. Basically, with a channel, it's easy.
I agree, man. You know, I'm right there with you. The gate works extremely well, and it's really great. I mean, you know, I work out of a small little studio back in my house, and you know, I got on these hot summer days, we got to keep that AC cranking along. And I can actually track on the other side of the room and keep the gate at a good place, and it doesn't, you know, if I point the mic the right way, it doesn't interfere. I can keep the thing going, and it'll just kind of turn me on and off, and I don't have to worry about getting that later on in the mix, and my vocals are done.
Yeah, I mean, with the gate, I basically look for two things, and it's basically the two things that they, you know, really made it in mind, obviously, which is, you know, smooth, you know, how smooth and how fast can it go at the same time. Right. You know, and the thing's super smooth and super fast, and super smooth and super slow if you want it to be.
What are you looking forward to trying the channel out on? I know I want to try it on a snare. I haven't gotten to that yet.
There's a few things. I would like to try it in a high gain situation, kind of where, you know, whether it's with one mic, kind of picking up some choir stuff with some room sound, or but I'd like to push it. I want to see how hard it can go, and I've pushed it, you know, on a few different things, but I'd really like to take it out, you know, in like a stadium, maybe next time you play or something, you know, and really see what I can get out of the air.
Let me ask you this now, one last question. Aphex. It's a pretty exciting time for the company. They've been around forever and ever. I mean, they actually invented this whole idea of sound enhancement with their old aural exciter. How do you feel about this company really coming back in a new way with new people? And
I think it's super important, especially nowadays in a time where, you know, most of the innovative gear that is coming out is just completely, the quality's deteriorated completely, you know. And Aphex has been going strong for a long time, and I think right now they're making, you know, a huge move with the research they're doing in their new, you know, in creating their new gear as well as the new gear they're coming out with, and quality's actually getting better if it's possible, you know.
So you think the message would be that more people should know that, you know, that Aphex is in there with really good quality gear, and if they think it's an old kind of, you know, antiquated notion to use Aphex gear, it's really a whole new competitive genre with all these other companies.
I mean, Aphex can be found in the majority of studios, the majority of post houses.
Still.
You know? Yeah, I mean, I've worked, you know, used them on so many albums, and I mean, the aural exciter, the expressors, you know, they're classics, you know, and so the fact that, you know, they're kind of taking all these things that they're known for, and you know, and kind of innovating them into these new products and the new Aphex. I think it's super important.
Now, I spoke with David Weiner not too long ago, and he has some exciting plans to move ahead and actually start using using the Aphex technology, the aural exciter technology, and using it on personal audio devices. What do you think of that?
I think that it's a shame that it hasn't happened a long time ago, and I think that Aphex is the perfect company to do it now. I think that, you know, I still listen to vinyl. I love vinyl. It's not hard to listen to. There's so much, you know, there's so much stuff that we're lacking nowadays in digital music, and you know, Aphex just makes up for it, especially with the channel. I mean, it's almost Neve-like in the way that it, you know, reacts to music, and it's really good. I like it.
Cool. Well, big bumps to my buddy. I thank you for coming on and talking with us today, and all you out there in Aphex world, watch out, because Channel wants you.